Streaming has become the predominant way for people to indulge in music as well as movies, and major streaming platforms account for a hefty portion of all internet traffic. So what's the latest regarding the debate over the bill for the increased network usage? How do streaming mergers look to affect the viewer experience? And what are pundits recommending to better tackle the legal lack? Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Issues and Insiders. I'm Min Sunhee. Today we touch upon the growing presence of streaming services and the implications for the broader entertainment industry. For more on this, I have Doctor Roslyn Layton at Aalborg University over in Denmark live on the line. Dr. Layton, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back.
Well, thank you. Lovely to be with you.
I also have Kwon Soa with me here in the studio, so it's good to have you here.
Hello, Sunny.
All right, so let's begin with some of the most recent news involving the streaming market here in the country. I believe we're looking ahead to the potential birth of Korea's largest streaming service. Tell us more.
Right. The potentially largest domestic streaming service might be born through a merger, that is, as Korea's major OTT streaming services, TVing and Wave, signed a memorandum of understanding earlier this month to merge their platforms. Or rather, media and entertainment giant CJ ENM and SK Square signed that deal. The former holds a 48.85% stake in TVing and the latter 40.5% stake in the Wave. Details including the merger ratio, the date of the new platform, or what kind of services will be integrated are not decided yet, according to the operators. Expectations are, however, that the merge could create Korea's largest OTT platform that can compete with global streaming giants like Netflix and Disney+. Currently, Netflix has some 11.37 million monthly users in Korea, while TVing, the second largest domestic streaming service right now, has 5.1 million active users, and Wave 4.23 million. So if we combine those and maybe add some more, a competition with Netflix might be realistic. With a similar goal of increasing productivity, TVing actually had already merged with KT's Season service a year ago. So that means we have TVing, Wave, and Season all together now. Meanwhile, on Monday, digital platforms, including OTT service issues, were addressed during a press conference by the Ministry of Science and ICT. So was the merger of TVing and Wave. Minister Lee Jong-ho welcomed the recent MOU, stressing Korea needs to boost its competitiveness in the OTT market. There were, however, some concerns regarding monopolization if you have this huge, giant new platform in Korea. Regarding those concerns, Minister Lee said that regulations may be needed. However, the priority right now is to strengthen Korea's OTT platforms to really compete against global giants.
Right, strengthen them through these mergers then. And that being said, Dr. Layton, how do streaming mergers look to affect viewer experience, do you think?
Well, I would say consumers have never had it so good. I mean, they are able to access a world of content and competition and streaming. And part of what makes this possible in South Korea is the excellent broadband. Korea is second to none in terms of providing 5G and fiber to the home. So South Koreans can really take advantage of all of the world's platforms. That being said, I think everything that Soa said is absolutely correct. And not just for Korea, but for the rest of the world, we're very much looking forward to see whether Korea can enter this market and compete. I mean, the issue about monopolization, it's not an issue for Korea. The issue is, are Koreans relegated to a duopoly of US and China platforms? So, no other nation has really been able to compete with China and USA in terms of developing platforms, with the exception of Korea. So in the internet policy circles, we're very excited to see, can South Korea, in fact, succeed at this attempt? They have succeeded before. We saw Samsung go for Apple with the Galaxy phone and succeed there. We see the success on going for 5G networks and wireless networks as well. And also in the video gaming space, there's Korea is competing globally. So that it would go after Netflix, more power to it. We're very excited to see the development.
Right. Meanwhile, Dr. Layton, there are some market observers who claim that these mergers could simply create a streaming industry that's a very expensive recreation of cable. What do you say?
Well, first of all, to be fair, cable emerged in the United States after World War II as a competitor to the giants, the sort of conglomerates in radio, TV, and print. And in Europe, they were challenging the state-owned broadcasters. So cable is actually a disruptor in its own right from its history. Today, however, the cable industry globally is being disrupted by the cord-cutting trend. 5G is eating into the margins and the profits and the subscribers of cable. And if you can get your broadband through the air rather than a wire under the ground, you can see that technology right there is creating the competition. So I don't see that the analogy to having the streaming mergers is that issue. Because in the case of Korea, you have two local companies put together are still less than the market share of Netflix. Netflix has 250 million customers globally in almost 200 countries. So consider what a challenging undertaking it is to be a Korean firm. Your merger will be determined by Korean authorities, but your customers can find alternatives to you just on the very platform that they use to watch your service. So this kind of shows the dynamism of the market for streaming, the challenge if you're in that market trying to provide a streaming platform. And it's fair to say that to date, Netflix is really the only profitable streaming service. So, many of these firms have operated without making profits for a number of years. The investors are hoping that things will work out over the long haul. And as I said, if we're a betting person, we want to bet on Korea because we've seen them succeed in the past when they have gone to the global market. It's not easy, but technology leadership is an area where Korea has succeeded before. It can do it again.
Right, hopefully, of course. So another recent headline concerning the local streaming market is the talk about the withdrawal from the Korean market by Twitch, I believe. Again, do fill us in.
Right, some might be not that familiar with Twitch. Twitch, a subsidiary of Amazon, is an American live video streaming service that's popular among game lovers. And it focuses on video game live streaming, including esports broadcasts, but also offers music broadcasts and creative content. It has 140 million monthly active users worldwide. However, soon Korean users won't be part of that. Earlier this month, Twitch announced that it would terminate its business in South Korea. I went onto Twitch's website and then you can see a message in Korean that says, as of February 27th, 2024, the Twitch service in Korea will end, and that the details of the difficult decision can be found on Twitch's blog. And there, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy explains that the cost to operate Twitch in Korea is, quote, prohibitively expensive, leading to significant losses. While the platform worked on trying to reduce those costs to stay in Korea, including by dropping video quality to 720 pixel from 1080 pixel in September last year, and later blocking streamers in Korea from uploading video on demand content, network fees still remained high. Calling this a unique situation, according to Clancy, the fees are 10 times more expensive in Korea than in most other countries. There were no specific numbers provided to prove that. The company's decision drew intense complaints from users here, and many are thought to have switched to alternative services like YouTube or Korea's streaming website Africa TV. If Twitch were to continue its operations in Korea, it would have faced even tougher competition next year, with Naver reportedly also getting into the market to launch a service for online video gaming leagues.
Right, I see. Dr. Layton, as Soa has mentioned, Twitch has linked its decision to leave the Korean market to very high network usage fees. Now, this debate, if I may, over footing the bill for the increased traffic usage between streaming services and internet providers, it's universal. Where do you stand on this particular debate?
Well, I have followed the situation with Twitch for some time, and, I don't buy their excuse. For one thing, the company has been known to have some management challenges for some time. They have laid off a number of people, and they have not been able to compete in the market. Again, this is a case where Korea may have not been the first mover in video gaming, but it has been a fast follower. And with the announcement of Naver coming online in 2024 with its platform, this was a way for Twitch to save face, wanting to blame the Korean policy rather than its own failings. Remember, all of Twitch's competitors, its Korean competitors, have been participating in the Korean rules and regulations in the network usage fees for some years. So it cannot be blamed on that. And moreover, no numbers were provided. I don't buy them in any case because they're not public. And Twitch had made other excuses in the past about its difficulties. In terms of network usage fees, I think when you look at South Korea overall, it is the world's #1 broadband market, and that has been decades in the making. There has been a long-term focus on making South Korea the first in wireless networks and in fiber to the home. And this success has been recognized by the ITU, which is the International Telecommunications Union, which is part of the United Nations, as well as OECD, that's Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So South Korea has the mix of policies that makes it the world leader. And because of having this high-speed broadband, having the capabilities with devices, with content creators, South Korea is now the world's 7th largest content economy. It's a staggering figure. And so, you have to see that the proof is in the pudding. All of these things come together to make the country a true ecosystem when it comes to having broadband networks that are fast, secure, and reliable, having everyone being able to connect, having devices, and having the capability to create and export the content. So that's why we're seeing that Korea is actually able to come to the market, not just to serve Korean customers, but to serve a global customer base.
And that being said then, Dr. Layton, do you suppose streaming services as a whole then should perhaps do a bit more to foot the bill with regard to increased internet traffic?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a concept promoted by the United Nations. It's called broadening the base. That means that everybody who uses the network should participate financially in the building and into the requirements for that network. So if you see in South Korea, the public sector participates in paying for network access, end users as well, the content providers, all of the actors in the Korean ecosystem. That's why you have the world's best broadband, because everybody pays. If you look globally, we have 2.6 billion people offline. We have chronic shortages because the tech, unfortunately, US and Chinese tech companies are not participating. They want a free ride on the networks. As you said at the beginning of the segment, 80% of the traffic is the video streaming. It's the advertisements running over those streams. So essentially what consumers do in the rest of the world is they're subsidizing someone else's advertising when in fact that amount should be paid by a third party. So through all of this, South Korea has been able to enjoy competitive broadband prices, the world's best quality broadband, and increasing improvement because Korean policymakers have been able to evolve the policy so that it continues to stay at the forefront. And we are certainly looking ahead the rest of the world to see what South Korea does. And for example, the Free Ride Prevention Act, which should come up again in 2024, and other nations are looking at their version. How are they going to be able to ensure the networks are available for everyone? And that requires broadening the base and getting all of the ecosystem to participate.
Dr. Layton, speaking as a layperson, it appears as though our regulations in general lag behind the advances in technology. And if that is the case, is there a way to better tackle this dilemma?
Well, so it's a great question. And I would say Korea certainly does not lag when it comes to broadband policy. As we've said, it is leading on the broadband policy. And I would say this is a light touch, flexible approach. Well, and if anything, I would say South Korea is prudent in terms of having wanting to protect consumers and their rights and privacy and so on, as you see with AI and how it's adopted a very pragmatic approach to AI. Where, if you could say where it's gotten wrong, would be European Union. They've over-regulated the internet sector. The European Union today accounts for just 2% of the world's total internet market value. It is already surpassed by Africa. So Africa has only half of its population online, but is already producing more in terms of internet apps and so on. So the over-regulation is also a problem, and that is what Korea wants to avoid. They're trying to strike the right balance. So getting ahead is not always the best strategy, because if you get it wrong, it can be very costly and it can set you behind. But being a fast follower when necessary, when you find out if there's harm, then you can act. But you don't want to act so quickly that you preclude the right things that emerge. And I think that's what's so important about the merger that's being proposed by TV, Ing, and Wave, is that they want to go to market. And this is a case where the competition authorities in Korea need to allow this to happen so that Korea can, these parties can compete, not just for the good of Korea, but for the world.
Right. Moving forward then, so streaming services, for their part, they've been raising their prices this year. Do tell us a bit more about this particular reality and the reasons behind it.
So all of the big names in the industry are making the price tag heavier for the users. Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, Hulu, Paramount Plus, and Peacock have all raised or announced price increases in recent months. And I think the best example to take is #1 OTT platform Netflix. The priciest version of Netflix's subscription has crossed the $20 threshold, as it costs $23 for a service with best video quality without commercial. Netflix has been raising its fees throughout the years to increase revenue, with different prices for different features, and also depending on whether you are a basic subscriber or a premium user. Following its first loss of subscribers in a decade in 2022, the world's leading streaming platform started to crack down on password sharing as well. So the slower subscriber growth rate plays a big factor in the streaming services' rising prices, along with higher costs in producing and maintaining content libraries. Inflation plays a factor as well, etc. And that's why many are following suit. Walt Disney Company earlier this year announced a hike in its ad-free monthly Disney Plus service to almost $14 and ad-free Hulu to almost $18, and that's a 27% and 20% increase each. Disney also hinted on cracking down on its password sharing as well, just like Netflix. So it's highly likely that all major platforms will, for the time being, continue to have all-time high prices, but they are leaving more options for customers as they are making it more affordable through advertisements, those that we were earlier actually happy not to be interrupting our favorite series, just like they have done on conventional TV. So that's making it more affordable for the users, and despite a much lower fee, more revenue for the streaming platform.
Right, and staying with what Soa has just said, Dr. Layton, streaming services, they're raising the cost of ad-free options, but leaving ad-supported prices the same. And given this reality, Dr. Layton, some are saying that the future of streaming is advertisements. What do you say?
Absolutely. I think every streaming company is going to look at some kind of advertising-supported solution. It makes sense. The technology is there, and we see this with with the devices. Samsung has a strategy as well. LG. If you're going to buy the device, why not get content bundled with it? And a third party can support that. So this is absolutely the case, and I think it's you can see how the different streaming services are availing themselves to that. But what I would say, this is no different than the network usage fee discussion. If you are a streamer, if you are a device company, if you're a broadband network, you want to be able to find different ways to get people onto your platform. And using different business models is the way to do that. Some people would pay more, some people pay less, some have advertisements, some don't. This mix of the market helps to meet a wide range of people at different price points. And if our goal is to get everyone online, we have to be able to use these kinds of capabilities. So, obviously having more advertising will be the way to go. I don't think every company will succeed at it because it does take economies of scale, and you need to be able to find the right offer for the advertisers. But it's a trend that's here to stay for sure.
And that being said, Dr. Layton, how does streaming platforms look to affect the more traditional forms of entertainment like television and movie theaters?
Yes, it's quite an exciting question, and we can certainly see that it is changing today. I mean, consider the technology that we have been enjoying through broadband has made its way to the live world. So if you go to a concert in Korea, you will have an AR, VR experience when you watch your favorite K-pop band. You'll follow them with an avatar. If you see Taylor Swift, she has a $1 billion tour, has brought in all of these kind of streaming and digital technologies. Then you can watch the Taylor Swift concert in the traditional movie theater. And so that itself has become a new revenue stream for the movie theater. We talked about the movie theater, the old line stadium or auditorium, if you will. And going back to television, they will think about, how do I use live performance to increase my relevance for an audience which can stream anytime, anywhere, all you can eat, bite size, binging, all of those things. So all of these kinds of models are interplaying. It's a very exciting time, and it is ripe for creativity. It's ripe for entrepreneurs. And, as I said, I think Korea is at the forefront to be able to embrace the capabilities and the future.
Right. All right, Dr. Layton, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts today. It was an exciting moment, this exciting show that is today. Thank you so much for your time. And Soa here in the studio, thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you, Sunny.
Right, well, that ends this edition of Issues and Insiders. Thank you for watching, and be sure to tune in same time tomorrow, that is Wednesday.